And welcome to MLB Network's presentation of the World Baseball Classic. Tonight we're at Marlins Park in Miami, where second round play continues. Team USA taking on Puerto Rico. How'd they get here? Team USA and Puerto Rico qualify for the second round by virtue of advancing out of pool play. For Puerto Rico, they were the Pool C runners-up. They defeated Spain. They beat Venezuela, and they lost to the Dominican Republic. That was their first ever first-round loss in World Baseball Classic play. As far as the U.S., they came back after an opening game loss to Mexico to defeat Italy and then beat Canada, getting here to Miami as the Pool D winner. Next stop for two of these teams here in Miami is San Francisco. There has been one game played already here today at this venue for this round, and in it, the Dominican Republic defeated Italy earlier today. So the Dominicans take a day off tomorrow. Italy will play tomorrow against the loser of this Puerto Rico-U.S. game. The winner of this one, Puerto Rico versus the U.S., they match up Thursday at 7 Eastern against the Dominican Republic. All roads lead to San Francisco for the semifinals and finals in a week. With that, we welcome you inside the broadcast booth here at Marlins Park with John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian. Let's talk about Puerto Rico for a moment, John. So much attention has been paid to the American lineup, to the Dominican lineup, with all the all-stars on those squads. The Puerto Rico team, not without its star power as well. And where one may think that the combination of Alex Rios, Carlos Beltran, and Yadi Molina may be the group that takes them to the next level, they have had other contributors here.
They sure have. They're core five guys that have been essential for other teams in the Major League Baseball. It's been these guys that have come up big. And that's really the format. In spring training, when you get runners on, you got to be able to have somebody hot enough to deliver them. And these two guys have come up big. It's been the formula that's helped them get through the first round to this point. They've got a young pitching staff, but they've got enough Major League hitters to carry this club and get them possibly to San Francisco.
For Team USA, they survived that first game, that matchup loss against Mexico. They beat Italy, and then they beat Canada to get here to Miami. And it seemed as though every time we discussed the inability to advance runners, it happened even more. But that seemed to turn around in the last couple of innings against Canada. The U.S. 5 for their last 9 with runners in scoring position, and the offense, John, seems to be clicking.
Well, this was a huge game. That one game determined whether or not, under the current rules, if they would have lost, they would have had to re-qualify. Think about it. And this situation right here now, last time they were here, they faced Puerto Rico. They got mercied in the second round. A little bit of revenge, and it goes a long ways. If they can win, it puts them in a nice position to get to the finals, which they've never been.
And on Sunday, it was more than just Captain America, David Wright, in terms of U.S. contributions. The guy that came up with the game-winning hit on Sunday to put the U.S. here in Miami is standing by with Adi Watney.
That's right. Thanks, Matt. Adam, you guys really built off that momentum from the last game, but you lost your first game. How are you guys playing as a more cohesive unit now entering this game?
Well, we've only had a couple days together, and, you know, I think a lot of us like the adversity. Look, you know, after the first game, I'm sure there's a lot of people, you know, questioning us and all that, but that's what we thrive on, and we got a great group of guys, as everybody know, and, you know, we're just going to build off of each other and just play our games.
Puerto Rico has had one of the best pitching staffs of the tournament so far. Have you gotten a chance to see any of their games? How do you approach them tonight?
I haven't seen a lot of their games, but I've went over scouting reports with them, and they haven't allowed a lot of walks nor a lot of hits, but that means they're around the zone, so we have to be aggressive, get a good pitch to hit, and not miss it.
All right, thanks, Adam. Back to you, Matt.
Heidi, thanks. The U.S. and Puerto Rico ready for their first matchup here in Miami. The winner gets a day off, and they meet the Dominican Republic on Thursday. The loser plays tomorrow in what turns into an elimination game. Lineups in the first pitch are coming up next. Welcome back to Miami. Let's set the starting lineup for Team Puerto Rico. The visitors in this one, the Puerto Rico starting lineup brought to you by G.I. Joe Retaliation in theaters March 28th. They'll lead it off with Angel Pagan. He's had a terrific tournament so far, 5 of 11. Irving Follow, the second baseman, bats in the 2-hole. Plenty of star power, 3 through 5. Alex Rios, Carlos Beltran, and Yadier Molina. Mike Aviles, the shortstop, bats number 6. Martin Maldonado, Andy Gonzalez, and Twins prospect Eddie Rosario round things out for the Puerto Ricans tonight. On the mound for Team USA, 21-game winner from a year ago, 27-year-old Washington Nationals left-hander Gio Gonzalez.
Gio joining the staff and the club here in Miami, and look at his numbers. Had an outstanding year last year. Every once in a while he can lose command of his fastball, but he's got 3 pitches that can really silence a lineup. Big breaking ball, good changeup, hard slider, of course a way above average fastball.
Angel Pagan ready to start things out. As we mentioned, 5 of 11 to begin the tournament. He has been a big reason as to why Puerto Rico has advanced to Miami, and the first pitch of the night from Gio Gonzalez is in for a strike. Puerto Rico wrapped up the pool round as the U.S. did on Sunday, and they took a loss to the Dominican Republic. The 4-2 loss, the first all-time for Puerto Rico in first-round World Baseball Classic play. Edwin Rodriguez, the former Florida Marlins manager, likes his chances, and there's a base hit back up the middle for Angel Pagan. Well, he has been terrific the last couple of days. So Pagan aboard the leadoff base hit, and now it's the second baseman, Irving Falou.
Falou spending a lot of seasons with Kansas City. Got a little crack of the big leagues last year. Hit a little abbreviated 341, but 10 seasons in the minors with Kansas City. And it's perseverance at its best. And he can fly. He can run around the bases a little bit.
A big aggressive lead for Angel Pagan, and Falou bunting foul. Hey, you mentioned Irving Falou and the time he spent in the minor leagues. There are a number of those stories here on the Team Puerto Rico roster. Got that first base hit, that first ever cup of coffee last year. A base hit against the Yankees, against Phil Hughes. After that time served on the far, trying to bunt the runner over, and pops it up for Joe Mauer. There's one away.
Well, the defense for the USA team, pretty darn good. You look at Braun in left field, and of course Jones is in center, and Stanton in right in his own park. There's some gold in the infield with Wright, Rollins, and Phillips, and then Hosmer filling in at first with 3 more Gold Gloves. Bauer.
1 out, 1 on now for Alex Rios. 2-time All-Star, 2 for 9 so far at World Baseball Classic play. Coming off a terrific resurgent season with the White Sox in 2012, in which he hit .304, 25 home runs, 91 runs batted in. So there are a number of great Florida stories here in this matchup, and I think the biggest most certainly is that of Gio Gonzalez. Went to high school in the area, from Hialeah, the Hialeah area of Miami. Gonzalez out of the stretch with the runner aboard. The 1-1 pitch is in for a strike on the corner. Gio growing up in the area and running around with his brother and his dad as a kid back in the days when his dad was installing billboards in the Miami area. And Gio and his brother would hop in the car with dad, and while dad was getting billboards ready, they would take a bucket of baseballs out. They'd throw baseballs at the billboard, ding it up, scratch it up, then dad would fix it up, hang it, and they'd go on to the next destination. There are billboards all over South Florida that Gio Gonzalez refined his craft with. Pagan's running, and the pitch is taken outside. Joe Mauer's throw down is not in time. A stolen base for Angel Pagan.
Sometimes the base runner will look at the catcher and see if he can see the sign, but he picked a perfect pitch. This is a high breaking ball. It gets a great jump. And of course, the velocity is not quite the same as a fastball, so that split second allowed him to get in and slide in ahead of the tag and the throw, which was high.
Chance for Alex Rios to knock in a run. Pagan in scoring position with one gun. The 2-2 from Gonzalez is fouled away. You know, Angel Pagan is one of the players in this tournament, John, who I think would have a really hard time if he was ever told, hey, tranquilo, take it easy. I don't think he can do that. He goes really hard all the time.
Yeah, he really did, and he fired up the San Francisco Giants last year, and since he's been there and a big player, and they're winning a world championship, high energy guy. It's infectious, you know, around. Everybody around him sees it.
The next 2-2. And again, fouled away to the right side. Well, Angel Pagan got paid in the offseason, got a 4-year, $40 million contract extension to stay with the defending world champs. I call that a win-win for both sides.
Yep.
Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Alex Rios. Little pop in the infield. Jimmy Rollins is there to make the catch, and there are 2 gone. If in fact this is your first little bit of round 2 World Baseball Classic viewing tonight, the pitch counts that we talk so often about are different in this round. They increase from 65 to 80 pitches. And in fact, they'll get bounced up again when the tournament moves on to San Francisco for the semis and finals. But we're in the second round. 80 pitches is the limit here. 2 gone now for Carlos Beltran.
Gio's ability to throw the same motion that he would with his fastball and a hard breaking ball makes it tough on right-handed hitters. Now he's going to face predominantly right-handed hitters throughout the year. Most managers are going to turn everybody around that they can, but this is a sharp breaking ball that starts over the middle of the zone and breaks out, and Carlos Beltran, one of the best high ball breaking ball hitters, can't lay off of it low.
There's a drive well hit out to center field. Adam Jones is there. Plenty of room in this ballpark. Man alive, is this place a mausoleum. Off the bat, it looked like that had a chance. Welcome to Marlins Park. Scoreless after a half inning. Time to take a look at Joe Torre's Team USA lineup, brought to you by G.I. Joe Retaliation in theaters March 28th. They'll lead it off as they have throughout the tournament with Jimmy Rollins, Brandon Phillips, and Ryan Braun follow. Mauer right, and Eric Hosmer in the 6-hole tonight. That's as high as Eric has batted in this tournament. Adam Jones, Giancarlo Stanton back in the lineup after a day off on Sunday. Ben Zobrist will DH in the 9th spot. 25 All-Star appearances all told for Team USA. A lot to handle for 29-year-old right-hander Mario Santiago.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're going to know about this guy. Kansas City Royals 2005 draft, 714 innings, sinker baller, cutter. There's that sinker right there. Not an overpowering fastball, but enough movement on it that if he can locate it. And now he's currently with the Dodgers.
Oh, 1 to Jimmy Rollins on the ground for Mike Aviles, who had it played perfectly. And there's 1 gone to start things for Mario Santiago. Santiago, as we mentioned, 28 years old, making his first appearance in the World Baseball Classic this year. Originally drafted as a 16th rounder in 2005 by Kansas City out of Baton Rouge Community College. He has made 156 minor league appearances with the Royals. And as John mentioned, minor league Dodger property as we speak. Here's Brandon Phillips now with 1 gone. Brandon off to a 3 for 14 start in the World Baseball Classic. The two-time All-Star has played throughout. Has flashed his outstanding 3-time Gold Glove skills on a number of occasions already. Out in front of a breaking ball that time. It's 0-2.
Yeah, really one of the most athletic second basemen we've seen. He can make some of the most spectacular plays. And of course, in Cincinnati, where a park could fit almost twice inside of this park, can hit a lot of home runs, and he has power to all parts of the field as well.
We were kind of pausing there when the at-bat began to see if there would be anything in the way of a greeting between two guys that have, well, they've had a history, let's put it that way. And I'm sure that if you ask Yadier Molina and Brandon Phillips if everything's cool, they'd say yeah, but then again, there was this back in 2010. Prior to the series, Brandon Phillips said, I play against these guys with one leg. I hate the Cardinals. And in the second game of the series, first at-bat, bench is cleared. During the fight, Chris Carpenter and Johnny Cueto were pinned up against the screen. That was a scary moment. Both managers were ejected. Cueto was actually suspended 7 games. There's a ground ball to shortstop. Aviles has this one as well.
Well, for Puerto Rico, you look at their defense, of course, it starts with the guys we mentioned with Pagan and Rios, Rosario in left field, Gonzalez playing third. Aviles has made the both plays at short. Felu and Maldonado first. And we don't have to say much about Molina. He is one of the best behind home plate. 5 Gold Gloves.
And according to everybody around this Puerto Rico club, the team leader. If it doesn't come from the manager, Edwin Rodriguez, or one of the coaching staff, it's Yadier Molina who kind of dictates policy. Here's Ryan Braun now with 2 gone and the bases empty. Another Miami connection, of course, with Ryan. Played his college ball at the University of Miami. Four for 13 so far in the tournament with a double.
On Molina, he plays one of the toughest positions as far as quantity of games that you can play in a year. It's hard to get him out of the lineup. He truly takes pride in not only getting a pitcher through the game, his offense picked up when his partner and ex-teammate Pujols left, and he shuts down the running game. He makes so much more for a baseball team, for a pitching staff. All you got to do is hold him on a little bit, and there's no running game.
There's ball 4 to Braun. Yadier Molina has played in at least 135 games in each of the last 4 seasons, and Mike Matheny has said a number of times there are days when I have to order him out of the lineup.
Yep.
And actually, Mike Matheny knows what that's like, because he was a guy who had to be ordered out of the lineup on many an occasion. A warm greeting for a member of the catching fraternity, former league MVP Joe Mauer. 5-time All-Star, having a really great run so far in the World Baseball Classic, as you saw. 5 for 11 with an RBI. He's got a runner aboard and 2 gone, taking strike 1.
Another guy that can flat out hit. Looks like he's in balance all the time. Big and posing, one of the tallest catchers.
Joe Torre has used Mauer as his cleanup hitter throughout the tournament. Not a familiar role for Mauer. He's certainly proven he can handle it. But prior to the World Baseball Classic, he had hit cleanup only 7 times in his major league career. Braun aboard with 2 gone. Braun can run. And the breaking ball misses inside. It is a very dynamic Team USA lineup. There are no base cloggers. You have players who are capable of doing a lot. moving runners, hitting for power. Two balls and two strikes. We've seen Ben Zobrist execute sac bunts. That's something that he's used to doing playing for Joe Madden. Adam Jones had a big sacrifice bunt on Sunday, something he'd done only a handful of times in his major league career. The U.S. coaching staff has made it very clear it's a little different here in the World Baseball Classic. It's still baseball, still 60 feet 6 inches. But this is not, you know, hitting the road for a 9-game road trip and then coming back home and kind of doing things the way you've always done them.
Yeah, and again, whatever it takes for the USA team to get to the finals in San Francisco is certainly their goal. And even though they started sluggish in that first round, they can put themselves in a nice position by winning like Dominican Republic did and come back from behind against Italy. But I think for everything that this was created to be, and for all the banter back and forth on who is and who isn't on a team, or I think it'd be great for this team to get to the finals and have a chance to compete and win and knock off Japan, who is the current two-time defending champ.
A base hit for Joe Mauer. Boy, is that pretty. That's going to roll a bit. Pagan's got to go get it. Braun's being waved around. The throw home from Aviles is too late. 1-0 U.S.
Like I said, he doesn't try to do too much. You see a pitch over the middle of the plate. He's strong enough to stay back and find the gaps, and that ball had a lot of heat on it. That's why it got into that big outfield gap. The gaps here, you could end up leading the league in triples here because it's so big. Maybe not necessarily Mauer, but other people that are fast and can find the gaps.
Team USA on the board for the first time. First for the first time, that is, in this World Baseball Classic tournament. They've had to play catch up in each of their first 3 games. And that'll bring up the guy who they're calling Captain America, David Wright. 5 for 11, hit the big grand slam that lifted the U.S. over Italy. Trying to pick up Joe Mauer here with 2 gone. 0-2. Braun drew the 2-out walk, and then the RBI doubled by Joe Mauer. Backup slider backs up a little too far.
Guys like Santiago, they've got a good low sinker and a nice little slider, but when they get to 2 strikes, sometimes the figuring out of how to put somebody away, more of a contact pitcher, and have to be a little bit more precise with their location with 2 strikes. Have to nibble like that and get some tight calls and maybe some strike 3 calls without a swing. This is a really good pitch, but a discipline of the hitter to recognize that it was out of the zone faster than it was outside the zone before it got ever over the middle of the plate.
That's grounded at third. A fair ball. Gonzalez is up with it to retire the side. Not before the U.S. can strike first. A 2-out double by Joe Mauer puts the Americans on the board first in Miami tonight. This presentation of the World Baseball Classic is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by Expedia, with more travel options. Whatever you're looking for, Expedia can help you find yours. And Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. Back with John Smoltz and Heidi Watney, Matt Vasgersian. 1-0 Team USA. Gio Gonzalez back to a second inning of work. Yadier Molina, Mike Aviles, and Martin Maldonado for Team Puerto Rico. The St. Louis Cardinals four-time All-Star, 2 for 7 so far in WBC play this year. Picks on the first pitch and grounds it to Jimmy Rollins. So a quick out for Gio Gonzalez, now Mike Aviles. Roof was open for the daytime game today. Closed with the panels beyond left field open. Really a gorgeous night for baseball in South Florida. We're going to have Marlins president David Sampson join us in the telecast in just a little bit to give us a little bit more background on the ballpark and the Marlins' participation in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, it's my first time here, and probably second guessing why I retired. I should have just come here, throwing all fastballs. That's a big yard. I mean, you gotta definitely hit it to hit a home run.
Two balls and no strikes. The count to Mike Aviles. You know, one of the things I want to ask David about is I'm not sure that big thing in center field, the actual Marlins and the Flamingos and the stuff over there.
Yeah.
I thought that only came up for a home run.
Marlins home run.
So it comes up for a Marlins home run during the season, but they're going to leave it up for the WBC, or is it broken?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I think they just want to show it off.
Yeah.
We'll get the answer when David Sampson joins us. I'm sure he's been spending all of his free time working on that. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Aviles. A bouncing ball to second for Brandon Phillips. So 5 in a row retired by Gio Gonzalez after the leadoff single.
Gio looks right in rhythm and ready to go with his fastball already. Middle of March, a couple more starts possibly for him. Each club does it a little differently as far as how many innings they'll let their starter go before the season actually kicks off.
Here's Martin Maldonado now 0 for 5 so far in the World Baseball Classic. You know, it's hard to imagine watching Gio Gonzalez pitch now, watching him pitch last year in round 2, a 21-win season, that there was a time, and there was a time, when he was a little over anxious, not unlike a lot of young pitchers. Everything was a little too quick. And Steve McCatty, the outstanding pitching coach in Washington, has been among those credited with really getting Gio to slow down.
Yeah, there's no doubt that a lot of his problems in the past are going to be, and most pitchers, is with mechanics. Can you locate your fastball? Are you too amped up? Do you get too excited? And I think Steve McCatty doesn't get enough credit for all the things that he's been able to do with that young pitching staff, dynamic pitching staff.
Well, from a guy who led the major leagues in walks just a couple of years ago to the numbers you see at the bottom of your screen, 21-8 in ERA under 3 last season, and only 27 years old entering this year, an age that many feel a pitcher is just starting to get it. A called strike 3 taken by Maldonado, 6 in a row retired by Gio Gonzalez. Team USA comes to the plate after a break, but first we take a look at another Team USA, G.I. Joe Retaliation, in theaters March 28th. Harold Reynolds trusts his baseball instincts. Brian Kenny favors stats. Now old school battles new school, if you will. Every weekday at 4 Eastern on MLB Now. It premieres April 3rd. Sneak previews April 1st and 2nd right here on MLB Network. Promises to be the most polarizing show on MLB Network. Pick a side of the aisle and tune in. Eric Hosmer leads things off in the U.S. half of the second. Hosmer, Jones, and Stanton against Mario Santiago.
Do they have a referee for that show?
They do.
They do? Moderator type?
They do.
That's good. They need that.
They also have neutral corners. You know what's funny about that show, and I'm not making this up, is each of those guys has their own researcher. They're assigning people to both Brian and Harold. 2 balls and a strike to count to Eric Hosmer. Big swing and a miss. Eric had a big bases loaded double late on Sunday that kind of sealed up the U.S. win over Canada and their berth into the second round of the tournament. He was, of course, a late addition to the roster and a strikeout victim here in his first try against Mario Santiago. One gone, base is empty now for the 2-time All-Star Adam Jones. Adam had the game-winning hit on Sunday. A 2-run double late.
Adam, along with the Baltimore Orioles, had a fantastic year. Some are wondering, can they duplicate that success that they had with all those close games? One would think not, but with Toronto doing what they did, Boston and New York being in the position they are with some questions, that league and his team could be battling again for a top spot along with Tampa.
Adam has really turned himself into quite a Baltimore guy. He goes down on 3 pitches. My goodness. Mario Santiago striking out 2 formidable bats on a total of 6 pitches here in the second inning. And a big ovation, as you can hear, for Marlins hero Giancarlo Stanton. Very comfortable here in his own ballpark. A 2-out single in the second. Boy, for Stanton, that's a big exhale.
Yeah.
His first hit of the World Baseball Classic, he'd been 0 for 7.
See, and in spring training, you wouldn't sweat nothing. You wouldn't worry. You're just trying to get your reps, trying to get your timing, statistical categories. You don't care too much as long as you start feeling better. But in this format, people are always talking about, you haven't got a hit yet. It's only 7 at bats, but yet it's in a format where everyone needs you to get hits quicker.
Here's Ben Zobrist. He's Joe Torre's DH tonight. If in fact versatility was part of the equation when Team USA's roster was set, I'm quite sure that Joe Torre is familiar with Joe Madden as he is. Gave a good long look to the entire Tampa Bay Rays organization. And they seem to shake trees in St. Pete that spit out guys like Ben Zobrist. That's lined into the opposite corner. Rosario runs it down. A fine running catch by the young left fielder, and it stays 1-0 U.S. Welcome back to Miami. Team USA and Puerto Rico underway. The Americans with a 1-0 lead. David Wright has been such a big part of the American success thus far in the tournament. A returnee to the Team USA roster. And when you ask David about his experiences in 2009, not only did he have the big walk-off hit that sent Team USA a little deeper into the tournament, he made some valuable relationships along the way. And we're not just talking about being able to schmooze with fellow all-star players. Andy Gonzalez, meanwhile, will lead off the third. Gonzalez, Rosario, and Pagan. It was in 2009 when the World Baseball Classic was here in South Florida, the old home of the Marlins, that David and a number of Team USA players met a fan who happened to grow up in New Jersey, happened to grow up a huge Mets fan, who
was watching the game and, quite frankly, just rooting, in fact, heckling a little bit. And David slid over to this fan, Felix Perez, who is an Iraq War veteran, and the two became pretty good friends. After the U.S. won that game against Puerto Rico, David flew Felix to the next round of the tournament. The U.S. there would be eliminated, but the two have remained close, and in fact have traded memorabilia. I think each has given the other what's considered to be a lucky charm. As Andy Gonzalez stays alive at 0-2. But it's a relationship that started in the last World Baseball Classic, and it continues today. A ball and 2 strikes to Puerto Rico's leadoff hitter Andy Gonzalez here in the third. Two and two.
Well, the game of baseball, you get a chance to see and do a lot of things, but perspective certainly will put what you do for a living in its perfect place when you meet a guy like that. And I'm sure David has taken upon himself to do whatever he can for the young man.
It's a great story. In fact, Felix Perez gave David Wright one of the last medals that he earned in combat. And it's something that David considers among his most cherished possessions in a non-baseball sense, for sure. But every bit as important as any big baseball that he's hit for a game-winning knock. Any memento from success he's out on the field. The way the whole thing started was from a security guard at Dolphin Stadium, the old home of the Marlins, who noticed Felix and said, hey, you want to come to the post-game press conference? David Wright said the first time he met him, he was actually just, heckling guys. And the 3-2 pitch is swung out and missed. One away here in the third. 7 in a row set down by Gonzalez. As you might guess, Felix Perez is here watching World Baseball Classic play once again tonight. And our Heidi Watney is with him.
Yes, I am joined by Felix. You were here all during batting practice. All of the players talked to you, but none more than David Wright, your friend. Can you tell us what that meant for you in 2009 when you got to go in and the entire team signed your flag?
Well, in 2000, it meant the world. There was something incredible that I've never imagined in my life would happen to me. I'm just a regular person. There's many more people that have done greater things than I've done. So
I would disagree with that. You fought in Iraq. You wore the American flag on your sleeve, and we were talking about how these players are wearing it on their sleeve. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. We're all representing our country the same way. It means, what greater honor is there than to represent your country? And you can see it in the Caribbean countries. They have this pride, they'll jump to their step, and it's the same thing that we should have here for ours. And at times I feel that we're losing it, and I hope that this WBC and these guys and our vets coming back bring that pride back into our country.
I was talking with Felix just a moment ago. He was saying he wishes he could still be there. Of course, he is here, and you are great friends with David Wright. Tell us about your friendship.
Our friendship is great. Watching the game here. Our friendship is great. We're always trash talking each other. He's a great person. He's a great human being. He's a real person. He doesn't let the money, the fame, the star logo get to him. You can talk to him as a person, and he'll be there for you as a person.
All right, thank you so much, Felix. Great story, and wonderful that you have been friends with David. Back to you, Matt.
Heidi, thanks. This is Eddie Rosario leading out an infield single to the right side of the infield. So Puerto Rico gets its first base runner aboard since Angel Pagan led off the ballgame with a base hit. But what a terrific story that friendship that blossomed in 2009. Felix Perez is now 31 years old. He was in the Army for 7 years. And I think he got a little sense of it there. He's just a regular guy. He likes to heckle, and that's probably what drew David's attention to begin with.
Yeah, you also sense a tremendous amount of humbleness and humility, and that's one of the things I picked up as well. He was hoping that we would empower the same kind of spirit that some of the other countries were talking about when they were rooting for their baseball team, and the players and the dugouts, and get a little more excited.
Back to the top of the order now, Angel Pagan. You know, I would imagine that if you play for Team USA, it's a little easier to take for granted what you have around you. And Sergeant Perez mentioned it there. Players, especially those from the Latin American countries, many of them come from such meager backgrounds. The desire, the fuel might be a little stronger than it is for somebody that's been kind of raised with all the creature comforts that we have in the United States.
There's no doubt, and again, that perspective, and he shared his perspective in that interview, but one of the things that kind of spurned the USA team was really David Wright's grand slam. Showed some emotion with that being a pivotal part of their comeback. A lot of the games were close. That last game was close all the way to the 8th inning. One-run game.
Stays 0-2 to Angel Pagan.
It's interesting, you know, football's played with so much more emotion, and obviously so, that baseball, your emotion and your adrenaline and all the things that go with getting excited can be built in that pitcher on the mound as well. That pitcher can stifle a lot of other things that are going on for the opposing team. It takes a little longer for rallies and certain things to get going at times.
Swing and a miss. Well, Gio got Angel to chase that high fastball. Third strikeout for Gio Gonzalez tonight.
Well, a fastball, he climbs the ladder. Good target. Didn't get it anywhere other than the most difficult place to get the barrel of the bat. As a hitter, he sits there and he goes, gosh, I can't believe I swung at that, but it looks good when it's coming out of the hand.
So now a 2-out base runner report for Irving Falu. 3 strikeouts for Gio Gonzalez tonight. There are a lot of pitchers who sheepishly consider themselves ground ball guys, pitch to contact guys, when they're really strikeout guys. Gio Gonzalez is really a strikeout guy.
Yeah, they got a staff over there of strikeout guys. I mean, you see those statistics right there: 20+ wins and 200+ strikeouts. Not a whole lot of people accomplish that, but now with Strasburg and that Washington staff, they can put a lot of Ks on the board in a series.
On the ground to third, there's Captain America himself, David Wright, and it's no trouble whatsoever for Gio Gonzalez after the 1-out single. Middle of the third, Team USA on top, 1-0. Hey, a lot of stars coming out tonight. Yankee legend, and I think you can call him that, one of the most beloved Yankees of this generation, and Puerto Rico native Jorge Posada. Taking some pictures with Sergeant Felix Perez here at Marlins Park. Welcome back. Jimmy Rollins will lead things off for Team USA in their half of the third. Top of the order in the bottom of the third, Rollins, Phillips, and Braun. Jorge Posada makes his home in the area here. And here to catch up with some old friends, I'm sure, in addition to watching World Baseball Classic play. Back to the pitcher. Santiago's got it, and there's one away. Is that an oversell, you think, to call him a Yankee legend?
No. No. You're part of that many championships, and you're there that long with the core four and all the guys that they were able to do. He was an elite player, to say the least.
One gone.
Still looks like he's got it.
I know, huh? I was looking at the coaching staff for Puerto Rico today, and you and I spent some time catching up. Brandon Phillips dumps a base hit into left. But there are a couple guys on that Puerto Rico staff. Jose Valentin, the very fine switch hitting major league middle infielder, had some great years in Milwaukee, the White Sox, time with the Mets. He looks like he can still go out there and play. Carlos Delgado still looks like he can go out there and hit you 22 home runs.
Tell you what, he was in great shape. He just had a hip replacement 3 months ago, so he's doing great with a hip replacement. Had a few too many surgeries and finally got it replaced, and he said he gave him a 20-year guarantee. Not bad.
On the hip?
Yeah.
Was former All-Star right-hander Ricky Bonas, who is the pitching coach for Team Puerto Rico. Ryan Braun with a base hit. Back-to-back singles here in the third. A 20-year guarantee.
Yeah.
You don't get a 20-year guarantee on a chassis when you buy a new Volvo.
No. They've got that thing pretty good. They say a hip's better than the knees nowadays. You're in and out fairly quickly, as he's shown us. 3 months, he's not missed a beat.
It was Joe Mauer's double in the first that put the U.S. on the board tonight. And scored Ryan Braun with 2 away. And Mauer takes a strike. Joe's a base hit away from hitting .500 in the World Baseball Classic. Good speed aboard in Phillips and Braun with 1 away. Fans of the Minnesota Twins, and the Twins have put more players in the World Baseball Classic than any other major league team. They have to be encouraged by what they've seen, not only from Joe Mauer, but Justin Morneau had a terrific tournament, even though Team Canada was eliminated after the first round. 2 balls and a strike. There seem to be Twins stories everywhere on the field, regardless of what matchup you're doing, because Minnesota has so many players in the event. Puerto Rico's left fielder, Eddie Rosario, Twins property. And a player that I think they could legitimately call a major league prospect.
And between the Twins and the Brewers, they took most of the spots on the different countries.
That's the way it breaks down. A lot of Phillies, a lot of Blue Jays. Defending world champion Giants have 9 players here. Of course, a lot of those players now have been returned to their major league parent camp, with their nations not qualifying for the second round. And there's ball 4. The bases are loaded.
That's when you're a pitcher, you just got to go, you know what, that was a great hitter with a great approach that didn't swing at anything outside, remotely looked like a strike, good discipline, and now you've got a guy who's as hot as anybody with runners on base. Grand slam already.
Here is Captain America. And just a little refresher course against Team Italy. The top of the 5th inning grand slam that seemed to kickstart the U.S. offense. They beat the Italians that night, beat Canada the next morning, and moved on to the second round of the tournament. On the ground to the left side, smothered by Aviles. They cut down the middle, man. What a fine play by Mike Aviles. Brandon Phillips scores from third. It's 2-0 U.S. But wow, what an effort by Aviles up the middle.
Tell you what, this is as good as it gets. Bases loaded. U.S. looking to crack open the lead. He gets a good jump, gets to his feet and his knees. The only play he had was at second base. Full extension. We're seeing more and more of these plays from the talented shortstops and second basemen in our league. Great play.
So runners at the corners now with a run in, 2 away for Eric Hosmer, a strikeout victim in his first try tonight. Yeah, not bad work for a guy that was traded twice in the offseason. I think Mike Aviles is a player, John. He seems to be cursed by his versatility. He can hit anywhere in the lineup. He could play second, third, shortstop. And as a result, he's bounced around a little bit the last couple of years. Last season, of course, in Boston. He traded twice in the offseason from the Red Sox to the Blue Jays, and he was traded for the manager, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those weird trivia answers that you're not necessarily real pumped up about it, Mike. And then he was dealt to the Indians. He did get a 2-year extension there. A fine play by Gonzalez at third. Look at the left side of the infield for Team Puerto Rico, shining brightly tonight. First Mike Aviles, then Andy Gonzalez. And the U.S. bases loaded threat yields just a single run in the third. You can catch the remainder of the Miami round here on MLB Network, as well as everything from San Francisco. And coming up next Wednesday, 7 Eastern, it's Italy versus the Puerto Rico U.S. loser. That'll be an elimination game. So the winner of this one gets a day off, if you will. They'll take on the Dominican Republic next. No walk in the park Thursday at 7 Eastern. Double elimination once you get to the Miami round of the tournament, as we welcome you back to Marlins Park. Middle of the order, Alex Rios, Carlos Beltran, Yadier Molina here against Gio Gonzalez. And as we mentioned, we are pleased to be joined by Marlins president David Samson. David, congratulations, by the way, on what's been a great first round of the tournament. I know that the Marlins are most proud of having the event here in your brand new ballpark. Tell us about how this all came about for you guys.
Well, we knew we wanted to host the Classic always, because who wouldn't want to be playing in Miami? And we needed a new ballpark. It was in Sun Life, and it was pretty good. But this year it's been completely different. You got over 30,000 people here enjoying all parts of our park, and you can just feel the spirit here in this baseball-only facility that's been really great for Miami.
2 balls and a strike to count to Alex Rios. It really is a beautiful ballpark for John and I both, our first trip here. And with the panels open, with the roof closed, it gives you a completely different feel from what we saw earlier today when the whole thing was wide open. There's a comebacker for Gio, and 1 away.
And we closed the roof because there was a little rain coming, so that's what we can do now with the roof, and we put the air conditioning on. And this park was built with, frankly, John Smoltz in mind. We tried to get him to try to pitch here, but this was it's a pitcher's ballpark, and you can see where the fielders are playing. It looks like there's a lot of green behind Adam Jones, but he can cover it if he needs to, but that's quite a poke to get it out there.
I'm always intrigued when the new stadium goes up. You have the baseball personnel that takes inventory of what needs to be built, but how many other people were involved in actually building the stadium and the different looks and the different unique situations that you have?
Well, it started as a vision for Jeffrey Lurie, our owner, but then we involved people in the community and the thousands of workers. This is a great example of our ballpark.
Carlos Beltran sends one all the way to the MetLife sign in left center. The throw to second base made that closer than you may have thought, but it's a stand-up 1-out double for Carlos Beltran in the Puerto Rico fourth.
And it takes something from everybody to put a ballpark like this together. People had great ideas. Someone came to us with the Clevelander idea, which is a party area right near the home bullpen. And frankly, what this World Baseball Classic does, it enables people around the world to see Miami, especially tomorrow night, an elimination game. That's what's exciting for me in baseball. We're going to be here tomorrow night at 7, and one of those teams, Matt, is going home.
Yeah, that is going to be a lot of fun. I know that it's Italy who will be there from one side of it, and whoever loses this U.S.-Puerto Rico game, those 2 teams will be playing with their tournament lives on the line. Here's Yadier Molina now with a chance to knock in a run.
One of the things that we promised our viewers we'd ask you about, David, and I know you've put a lot of time into that center field with the Flamingos and the Dolphins, and that comes up only for home team home runs during the season. Am I mistaken?
During the season for home team home runs, for Marlins home runs, and after the Marlins win a game. But during the Classic, anytime a home run is hit, it's going to go off. And that's with Marlins and Flamingos and seagulls flying and waves waving. And it's by the artist Red Grooms, and it's part of Miami Art in Public Places, which is a great program.
A ground ball to shortstop. Jimmy Rollins gathers it in, and Molina's retired for round number 2.
Basically, there's something here for everyone, whether you're from Miami or from anywhere around the world. This park just oozes Miami. No matter sort of what direction you look, you're going to see something that's unique to Miami.
I know the Marlins represent such an important place in Major League Baseball because of your proximity to the Caribbean, because of the diversity here, because of the fact that now with a roof, you can play here every day all year. And it's great to see so many fans coming out in support of the World Baseball Classic, getting ready for the Major League season to begin.
It's great, and there's no secret, Matt. We had our struggles last year, both on and off the field, and we're not hiding from that. You know, we're very sorry for how it all happened, but the fact is that there's people enjoying this ballpark now and for decades to come, and a game like the World Baseball Classic really shows people what can happen when things go right in Miami, and things will go right again.
1-0 pitch to Mike Aviles is in for a strike.
Is it too early to tell, being only 1 year, what the differences are between the roof closed and when it's open as far as the ball traveling and all that?
We've kept statistics with the roof closed and the wall open, with the roof open and the wall closed, and with both closed and both open. I'm not going to tell you, John, after 1 year that we have it down.
Sure.
There was a time when the roof was open and the wall was closed. It created a wind impact where my son could come and hit a home run, and he's only 9.
Yeah.
And so Caleb always wanted that. That's how he wanted the ball into play, but the pitchers weren't happy.
Sure.
So we're still looking at everything, and it will take a couple years before we know. And that's like with the fences. You know, you heard people last year, not people like you, John, people
right,
who make their living with a bat, but it's too early to tell.
And follow-up question is, who determines when it can be closed or open? Do you guys have the say, or is it still got to go through commissioner's office? Or
no, we have a formula, actually, that we meet on the field before every game. It's humidity, temperature, wind, chance of rain, and relative feel. And we put it into sort of a Dr. Seuss-like machine and decide if the roof's going to be open or closed.
Come on back, Mike Aviles. That's a full count, 3-2. So you have a shredder, per se. It's almost as though the spirit of Brian Kenny looms over the World Baseball Classic, and the shredder determines whether the roof will be open or closed. This is the world we're living in, folks.
I'd like to say it's more scientific, but you should see us at about 6:30 every night during the season. There's 4 guys with nary a weather degree figuring it all out.
Aviles with a drive into right. That could do some damage. Stanton gets back there to put it away. Oh, yeah, Mike Stanton knows how to play right field at Marlins Park.
That is Giancarlo knowing what he's doing, that's for sure.
Marlins president David Sampson on cue. Thanks for the visit. Best of success this year.
Thanks for having me. See you guys again soon.
It all started with 16 teams from 16 countries vying for one prize. Now as the field narrows, nobody covers the World Baseball Classic like MLB Tonight. Watch World Baseball Classic coverage on MLB Tonight coming up right after the game and through March 19th on MLB Network. Adam Jones will lead things off in the home half of the 4th in what's turned into, perhaps predictably for some, a pitching and defense night. And fine defense being played on both sides of the scorecard this evening. Boy, Giancarlo Stanton with a terrific running catch to keep Puerto Rico off the scoreboard in the top half of the 4th. Stanton bats next, bottom 3rd of the order here against Mario Santiago. You know, the trend in baseball, John, and I don't even know if you could call it a trend because it's been happening for a while. When a new ballpark is built, that heaven forbid seems to be a comfortable place for pitchers. Safeco Field, Citi Field, Petco Park. There's this outcry, this lament that we must do something for the hitters. And so what happens? Citi Field, they bring in the fences. They shorten them. They do the same thing at Petco Park for this year.
Yeah, it's okay to have balance. It's been out of balance for a long time. I mean, you look at the newer ballparks, especially when you talk about the National League Central. I mean, every one of those, for the most part, is a home run hitting park. I know we're enamored with the quick gratification of a home run, and it's exciting, but so is the triple, and so is the shutout.
It's a ground ball to third. Gonzalez is there. He's been outstanding tonight.
And if you hit him, you're going to, if you hit him here, obviously you're going to hit him anywhere. But I think what kind of gets cheapened a little bit is when it's off the end of the bat or it's the other way and it's a fly ball in most parks and it's gone. I think that's where it affects the game in a way where guys are used to just that being the norm.
Another big round of applause for Giancarlo Stanton as he takes a strike. I think the slippery slope is when teams start to make adjustments one way or another based on personnel. And every team that's done it will tell you that they have not done it because of a specific roster mix, but because it's the right thing. They had to bring the fences in at Comerica Park after the first few years. This has been happening for a long time. They did it at the Astrodome when it was the home of the Astros.
Right. Well, you see well-documented situations where it's a Juan Gonzalez turning down a lot of money because of maybe the fence is too far, but you have to attract people at certain places with a little bit more money. You know, Colorado is going to be hard to get pitchers, so what did they do? They had to pay a little bit more to get pitchers to go out there. Philadelphia is the exception to the rule. They got not only quality but great pitchers in a small ballpark to make it play big. Those guys are the exception.
2 balls and a strike to count to Giancarlo Stanton. Ben Zobrist next. Broken bat. Gonzalez has to move for this one as well. He's been impressive tonight. Andy Gonzalez, not one of the household names on Team Puerto Rico's roster, but he's been great. 8 ground ball outs tonight, turned over by Mario Santiago. Here's Ben Zobrist with 2 away.
Very impressed with his ability to stay down in the zone with his sinker, an occasional hard cutter or slider. Tried to throw a couple curveballs to change the speed and the eye level, but he keeps the ball down, and that's the result of those ground balls. That pitch right there, you can tell the hitter sometimes it's coming, and he can't do a whole lot with it. So credit him in navigating through the U.S. lineup and limiting the damage to only 2 runs.
A ball and 2 strikes to Ben Zobrist now. .61 pitches for Mario Santiago. Reminder, MLB Network premieres MLB Now on April 1st. It's Harold Reynolds versus Brian Kenny. Rock'em Sock'em Robots comes to TV. Zobrist sends a fly ball out to left center field. Rosario and Pagan negotiating. And it's a 1-2-3-4 for Mario Santiago. Still 2-0 U.S. This presentation of the World Baseball Classic is brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. And by Tums, fights heartburn fast. And Subway, the official training restaurant of Mike Trout, Ryan Howard, and athletes everywhere. There is a bobblehead museum here at Marlins Park. And check out where they put the Joe Torre. Right next to the Babe Ruth. Okay, well, there's a Mo Rivera there, too, making Joe look too old there. Put him with the old timers. Joe is still every bit as fiery and feisty as he was when he was skipper in the Yankees and playing for the Cardinals. Number 5 on the all-time managerial win list.
Martin Maldonado leads off the visitors' half of the fifth. Bottom of the order here against Gio Gonzalez. I could have sworn that in that case of bobbleheads, there was a Harold Reynolds bobblehead strangling a Brian Kenny bobblehead.
Well,
Two hosts of MLB Now, premiering April 1st on MLB Network. Gio Gonzalez has been terrific tonight. He has allowed just 3 hits, has not walked a batter. And records another strikeout as he gets Maldonado looking at the corner.
he's been outstanding with his control, under control from the very beginning, never really racing with any of his pitches. He shows the hitter a hip turn and then throws that backdoor curveball that ends up coming over the middle lower part of the plate. The way that he throws the baseball and the way that he turns, sometimes he can over-rotate, and that will cause an overcorrection, and then of course you throw your fastball all over the place. But he's been solid, quiet, and in command the whole game.
That'll bring up Andy Gonzalez now.
And I'm sure his mechanism for his mechanics allows him to watch out now.
Yeah. That's Harold and Brian going into their run DMC mode. 1-1 the count to Andy Gonzalez. A ball and a strike. When MLB Now is on the air, and it takes the air officially on April 3rd, and when Brian and Harold get into their new school versus old school discussions, I suspect this much: there will be times when Harold surprises Brian. Harold is not—he's not totally reluctant to accept advanced methodology when it comes to stats. It's lined out to right, and Stanton's got it. But when push comes to shove, Harold's going to represent the guy with the stopwatch and the straw hat, and Brian's going to represent the guy with the 10-key calculator and the slide ruler.
We're going to see whose cut man is better.
Puerto Rico has moved through the tournament with pitching and defense, and that's not what you would guess if you look at the roster with the likes of Alex Rios, Beltran, Molina, Angel Pagan. Eddie Rosario singled earlier tonight. He has one of the 3 hits against Gio Gonzalez. We mentioned Rosario earlier, being a Minnesota Twins prospect. Hit .299 last year with 13 home runs between short season A and Class A Beloit. Signed out of high school in Puerto Rico in 2010. A swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Gio Gonzalez. Make it 5 on the night. And Gio continues to roll back in his hometown. With the score 2-0 U.S. in the middle of the 5th, we send you back to the MLB Network studios to check in with Paul Severino.
Let's go, big guy. You got to get a good jump because this guy, he's right on the money every time. That it, baby. Stay right there. What do you got here, Mad Dog? Nice and easy, Haas. Get on there, Jonesy. Come on. That was a good play. That was a great play. Give it to that kid. That little kid.
Joe Torre's bench coach Larry Boa having a blast at the World Baseball Classic.
Remember
Remember those characters in Highlights magazine, Goofus and Gallant? The base hit into right.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just trying to say that Joe Torre loves to have Larry with him, and Bo was on his coaching staff in various spots because he's his alter ego. He's his bad cop. Reminder, intentional talk. You can watch it during the World Baseball Classic. Look at that. Is that unbelievably awful that they put the Rose Millar bobblehead next to Scully? You know what, Vin? On behalf of the network, I apologize. You deserve much better placement than next to, wow, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Bunting is Brandon Phillips. And the sacrifice works. Rollins advancing to the next station. A runner in scoring position with one gone for Ryan Braun.
You know, the one thing on all the teams that are trying to compete to win it all, there are a couple teams with some stop-gap closers. USA obviously has one of the best, Craig Kimbrell. So you can tell the strategy is to play to get into the later part of the innings where they can shut you down with their bullpen. So an extra add-on run here in these kind of formats and these kind of games are really big. Regular season game, they may not have played it anywhere close to that. 2-0 lead, play for a bigger inning. But you see how big a win would be, a day off for the team. Of course, you don't have to play that elimination game tomorrow.
Braun has walked, singled, and scored tonight. Four for 14 during the World Baseball Classic. Joe Mauer on deck for the Americans. Santiago out of the stretch with the runner in scoring position, and he'll take a look back at Rollins. John mentioned it a moment ago. The winner in this one gets a day off tomorrow. They'll come back to play the Dominican Republic on Thursday. Well, that one gets away from everybody. Braun's going to advance on a swinging strike three. I can't wait to see that replay again to see what exactly happened and how that ball squirted away from Yadi Molina.
Not so sure he doesn't get crossed up here, but the pitch almost is mask high. He swings at it up near the mask. He's setting away, and the pitch goes up, and totally, the catcher's reaching for it, and the umpire gets it right in the mask.
Oh my goodness, that wasn't slowed down at all. Home plate umpire Marvin Hudson caught that one flush. I don't think Ryan Braun even got a little piece of that, do you?
No, he couldn't have, or it would have been a.
That's right, it would have been a foul ball.
Foul ball.
Wow. Puerto Rico infield gathers in part to buy a little time for the home plate umpire, quite possibly. There are runners at the corners. Joe Mauer has swung a hot bat in this tournament. Take a look at the staff and from where this umpire crew hails. Puerto Rico makes a pitching change. a little more than buying time for the home plate umpire. To the bullpen, and we'll be right back. The next World Baseball Classic game on MLB Network comes your way tomorrow night. Italy takes on the loser of this one this evening in what will be an elimination game. The loser goes home. Italy drops their first game today against the Dominican Republic, and they've got to win to stay alive. The loser between the U.S. and Puerto Rico, their opponent tomorrow night, will have live coverage beginning at 7 Eastern right here at Marlins Park. A pitching change, I guess.
Only by the first name. Andres Santiago. He's coming in relief. He's the 16th round selection of the Dodgers, 2007. 2012, he was 6-5 with a 3.69 ERA. 122 strikeouts in 112 innings. So he's got some stuff for you. And I think a great job by the previous Santiago. He really did a nice job keeping the ball down low and limiting the U.S. offense to only 2 runs at this point. He's responsible for a couple more runners.
So one Santiago for another with runners at the corners and 1 away. Here's Joe Mauer. He has doubled in 1 of the 2 U.S. runs tonight. 13 outs recorded by Puerto Rico pitching. 9 of them came on the ground at the hand of Mario Santiago. And if Andres Santiago can dial up a ground ball here, Puerto Rico gets out of the jam. Rollins and Braun aboard with 1 gone. Quick throw down to third base, and Rollins has to scurry back. Yadi and Molina end ball games with that play.
He can do it from his knees. He's got such a quick release, and he's usually pretty accurate with it.
I mean, literally end ball games. 2 out in the 9th, and the final out of the day comes on that play.
He has a good sense for what guys are doing after the pitch is thrown. I know he's concentrating on the pitch, but he'll see what the secondary lead of the guy is.
Three balls and no strikes to Joe Mauer. David Wright waiting next. Captain America may have yet another bases loaded opportunity in this World Baseball Classic.
Wouldn't be surprised to see the green light right here from Joe Mauer.
Ball 4. So Team Puerto Rico still hasn't figured out a way to get Joe Mauer out tonight. And Andres Santiago is in a very dangerous situation, having to face David Wright with the bases loaded. Both of David's plate appearances tonight have come with runners in scoring position. He's got Rollins, Braun, and Mauer here. Ball and no strikes. David Wright is a career .314 hitter with the bases loaded. See, he hit the second U.S. Grand Slam in World Baseball Classic history. Jason Varitek hit the first in 2006. So 2-0 now.
Pitcher, you're trying to guess what a hitter's trying to do when the bases are loaded. He did not get aggressive off the first pitch. Slider off the plate. Great first pitch to throw. He tried to come in with a fastball and expand the zone, possibly get the call. He certainly didn't want to go 2-0. Dangerous pitch right here. Got to be a good one. But David Wright will find a gap and drive in a couple runs. Anything out over the plate, he's going to hit hard.
A left-handed hitter on deck. Eric Hosmer waits next. And the 2-0. Wright shoots it into right field. Jimmy Rollins scores. Braun being held at third. It's a bases-loaded RBI single for Captain America. And the U.S. takes a 3-0 lead.
It's just a tough position to put a pitcher in with the bases loaded. 2-0 count. And again, David Wright doesn't do anything other than go where the pitch is thrown. It's just a 1 RBI.
Eric Hosmer takes strike 1. Sergeant Felix Perez loving it. One and 1 to Hosmer. There were some of us, John, and I was among them, who thought that this might be a more U.S. visiting type crowd, like Puerto Rico would get most of the support. And while there are a lot of Puerto Rico fans here, the U.S. fans have represented themselves well tonight.
Certainly have.
Of course, they've had a little bit more to get excited about on top 3-0. 1 and 2.
It's a good sinking fastball back over the plate, close enough. Strike zone does not show up there on the
2 balls and 2 strikes now. Adam Jones waiting on deck for Team USA. Andres Santiago trying to limit this at just 1 run. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out.
advantage of the swing being a little bit longer by Hosmer. He tied him up inside. He couldn't get his hands to the ball. 3 really perfect pitches. This just ties him up. You see he gets a little piece of it, but he can't quite pull his hands in. He likes the ball out over the plate, as most hitters do. That was pretty clutch for the moment for Puerto Rico.
Here comes Edwin Rodriguez now. Jose De La Torre is up in the bullpen, and they have made the change. Second change of the inning for Team Puerto Rico. We'll be right back. Team USA has struck for a run in the 5th. They've got the bases loaded with 2 gone. And trying to stop the rally at just that is Puerto Rico right-hander Jose De La Torre.
See his numbers, pretty good numbers. Great hits to innings. Walks to strikeouts.
De La Torre making his first appearance in the World Baseball Classic. Split his time last year between AA Akron and AAA Columbus with the Indians and AAA Pawtucket with the Red Sox. Adam Jones has the bases loaded with a run in and 2 away. Braun at third, Mauer at second, and David Wright after the RBI base hit at first.
Adam Jones got a big hit in that final game that USA played in the first round late in the 8th inning. See if he can deliver a 2-out RBI for his team here. Bases loaded.
Giancarlo Stanton waits on deck. Makes this at bat even more important. Certainly with the bases loaded, nowhere to put Adam Jones, and a breaking ball starts him with a strike. For the winner tonight, a day off tomorrow, and then a game with the Dominican Republic on Thursday. The loser faces Italy in an elimination game tomorrow night. Jones chops it in the infield. Aviles has to hurry. Throw to first is just a half step better than the good speed of Adam Jones. Jose De La Torre strands the bases loaded. The U.S. settles with 1 in their half of the 5th. We're headed to inning number 6. It's 3-0 for the Americans. Tomorrow, live spring training baseball on MLB Network at 4 Eastern. The Angels and the Padres out in the Cactus League, and later at 11, more Cactus League action. The Brewers and the Diamondbacks. That's tomorrow. MLB Network, home to more than 150 spring training games. I got to be honest, we've been so wrapped up with the World Baseball Classic that I don't even think that spring training is going on. It's not relevant in my world right now.
You could quiz me on 7 different teams and I couldn't come close to what their record is.
This event has been a lot of fun to cover. Jeremy Affeldt is the new U.S. pitcher. He'll work the top half of inning number 6. Angel Pagan leads it off. The switch hitter will turn around and bat right-handed against the southpaw Affeldt. Then it's Falu and Rios. Gio Gonzalez was great tonight. Hard to overstate the impact he had on keeping things calm for Joe Torre. Went 5 innings, only 3 hits, struck out 5, did not walk a batter. Last year in 32 starts, Gio Gonzalez had 4 of them in which he didn't walk anybody. One of those starts came right here at Marlins Park. So the home cooking really served him well.
Sure did. And I think last year's experience in the playoffs will serve him well too. He got a little wild there and lost his mechanics a little bit a couple times. It's going to be a pretty good horse race in that division between them, the Phillies, the Braves. Of course, these Marlins will be the byproduct of somebody's success, if you will. Not expected to have that good of a year.
Pagan lifts a fly ball to shallow right. Giancarlo Stanton, 1 away. Let's check in with Heidi Watney.
Well, Yankees fans will recognize this guy, Jorge Posada here. Your wife is wearing a Puerto Rican hat, but you've got ties to a ton of teams here. Who would you play for?
Probably Puerto Rico. Born and raised in Puerto Rico. My dad is Cuban, my mom is Dominican, but I feel like I'm a Puerto Rican.
Obviously, you could play for the U.S., but you're rooting against them tonight here. How is it rooting against your former manager?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I'm betraying him, but I told him before the game, I said, I can't root, for you because, Puerto Rico's playing against you today.
Who do you like in the tournament?
Well, Dominican, USA looks very good, and see who comes out of. I know Japan is very hot, so we'll see. I mean, it's a good tournament. The crowd looks like they're into it, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a great crowd here tonight. You're retired now. Obviously, you can come to events like this. How is retirement treating you?
Very good. Last year around this time it was tough, but right now that we have a little routine and we are enjoying ourselves, it's a little better.
With the Yankees having so many injuries, there's no desire to come back and help them out, maybe play the outfield a little?
No, I'll be there tomorrow night, but I know that I can't play this game anymore.
What do you think of this year's Yankees team?
Well, they're banged up right now, and right now is a good time to be banged up. You want to finish strong, and I think the team's got the talent and all the, somebody's got to step up right now and, look forward to being ready for the season opening day.
We're seeing some of your career highlights. As you have a time now to reflect back, what is the biggest thing that stands out to you about your career if you had one moment?
Wow, one moment. There's not one moment. I think the World Series, the perfect game with David Wells. There's a lot of things that stood out, and the things that really come to mind are your teammates and people you played for, like Joe Torre. I'm really blessed that we got a chance to win 5 championships in New York.
Quite a career. Thank you so much, Jorge. Back to you, Matt.
Heidi, thanks. And it's really good to see
current players, retired players, so many extended members of the baseball community enjoying this event.
Yeah, whether you're here or watching it on our network, there's something different about this time of year where spring training has its normal routines, and this takes you a little bit outside of it. A lot of crowd, a lot of teammates.
Hot shot back to Affel, to second for one. Phillips relay from his knees. They double up Alex Rios. Oh, Jeremy's spoken. And he starts a sweet 1-4-3 double play to make for a quick 6th inning. Bottom half of the 6th inning, Giancarlo Stanton leads off for Team USA. Stanton, Zobrist, and Rollins, the Americans on top, 3-zip.
This is a play that maybe don't work quite as well in spring training with the second baseman getting to his knee, but he's so talented to get off that knee that he doesn't get slid into. A great double play. Look at the pitcher, step and throw. That's the most important thing. Gives him a nasty sinker, actually, that drives him to his knee, and he makes the turn in time for the double play.
Stanton with a solid base hit into right field. Rios had to slide, knocked it down, and Giancarlo's going to get into second base with a leadoff double. But Giancarlo Stanton coming out of it 2 for 3 tonight after an 0 for 7 start to the World Baseball Classic. Check the scoring on that. They're going to hang an error on Alex Rios. Single E9.
I have not agreed once with the official score since we've been here today. I'm not changing it on my scorecard either.
You're calling it a double?
Yeah. It's a hard play. Sliding to try and cut off a bullet. Don't agree. I'm not changing. No whiteout. Got a perfect card.
You'll show him.
Yeah. I'm sticking to my guns.
Here's Zobrist now with a chance to knock in a run. Ben's hitless tonight, 0 for 2, a couple of lineouts. I still want to see Giancarlo Stanton go deep in a game. He's centered up 2 balls and hit him on the screws tonight, both for singles, despite what you may have written down. But you pointed out earlier today, and then we started watching together, the batting practice balls he was launching up around the signage and that top walkway in left field. Overall, the seating.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous when you watch him. I mean, he's about 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", can run. It's one of the bigger American teams that I can remember. Some of the guys that are on this club.
That is a blast. That's a blast in any ballpark, but given what we know about the way the ball travels here, even in BP. 0-2 to Zobrist is fouled away. Let's take you back to May of last year. Rockies and Marlins, bottom of the 4th. Giancarlo's 22 years old. This against Jamie Moyer. It hit the scoreboard in left and knocked a whole series of lights out of commission. Look at that.
And let me tell you, he had to supply all the power there because I think Jamie Moyer threw that one at about 76 miles an hour, and he crushed it.
You can see the highlight and look at that on videotape, and then you look at it as we sit here tonight and take it all in, and that is a long way out there. A ball and 2 strikes to Ben Zobrist.
Obviously, Zobrist is trying to pull the ball. The pitcher's trying to pitch him away so he hits it the other way to not advance the runner to third with less than 2 outs. The cat and mouse game of who's going to execute who continues with a 2-2 count.
Top of the order, Jimmy Rollins next. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ben Zobrist.
If you've got a curveball, this will be the time to throw it, because your ability to try and pull the ball will more apt swing over the top of it than necessarily a changeup or a sinker. You could pull either one of those and get the runner over.
That's hooked foul.
Gotta bounce it.
Well, the way the U.S. bullpen has thrown the ball in the World Baseball Classic, and they've only given up 2 runs the entire tournament, Puerto Rico can ill afford to fall behind any deeper here. A full count now, 3-2. Edwin Rodriguez has his bullpen busy behind De La Torre. Stanton in scoring position with nobody out. Fouled away once more. Complete World Baseball coverage, World Baseball Classic coverage right after the game tonight with MLB Tonight. Greg Amsinger, Jerry Manuel, and Bill Ripken wrap up the busy day. Still full to Ben Zobrist. And there is ball 4.
Right idea. Another really good pitch that the American hitters have laid off of. A tight slider down over the middle of the plate. Just missed, according to the umpire. Maybe not according to the strike zone, but a quality at bat.
And here comes the manager, Edwin Rodriguez. He got the top of the order. Switch hitter Jimmy Rollins, and then Phillips and Braun.
More than likely he'll be discussing a bunt play here with his whole infield and his pitcher. Jimmy Rollins good with handling the bat. Ideally, you'd like to bunt it to the third baseman, get the runners to go to second and third. It's up to Puerto Rico which kind of defense they'll employ. Will they keep the shortstop at second? Will they put the wheel play on? At this point, looking to get an out.
Jimmy Rollins in the last 4 seasons has averaged 1 sac bunt per year. Bunting here.
And he just got it around too late. You got to totally give up of yourself as a hitter. There needs not to be a surprise. Bat's too far back behind him. He's good enough to handle it. You can see the barrel where it is. And in any last movement with the hands and his knees don't go down, you just reach for the ball. And that's why you get the foul tip instead of putting it in play the way you'd like.
And now Rollins behind 0-2. You know, there's so many major league managers, John, that are reluctant to play small ball because they don't feel like they have the personnel to be able to do that.
Yeah, but that starts in spring training. I mean, that's as simple as mechanics that you get. Everybody in the history of the game should be able to bunt. It's just a matter of ego and pride, sacrificing yourself to do it for a team. And you just got to start it in spring training.
Rollins strikes out. It just seemed to go south after the failed bunt.
Yeah, traditionally when you take BP, everybody puts down 2 bunts. Some just kind of do it and go through the motions. Some actually take the time to work at it. Then they'll go the other way, and then they'll go into raking like they want to. Two really good pitches that he was trying to throw to Zobrist, but actually got Rollins, and a huge strikeout with runners on first and second.
Some numbers that chronicle what Team USA has done with runners in scoring position. They really snapped out of it against Canada, but two sluggish efforts in that regard against Canada and Mexico. 1 for 8 tonight. Here's Phillips now, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. Brandon hit better than 300 with runners in scoring position last year. He has singled and sacrificed tonight. Oh, and 2.
I tell you where Brandon has gotten better as a baseball player. Used to do that a lot. Used to try to turn and really love pulling the ball and trying to swing for the fences. He now covers every part of the plate. And when he's going bad, he does that where he's trying to look to pull the baseball. He can go to right field. He can go to left center. His ballpark plays pretty small in his home park.
Still 0-2.
But early on in his career, he had a lot of strikeouts of the same type of pitch. Didn't have to make too many adjustments. Now you see that right there. Pretty good.
Among the dwindling ranks of major league second basemen that can hit for power. A ball and 2 strikes. Next up for Team USA, should they win or lose tonight, it's going to be R.A. Dickey that gets the ball. And he'll either be pitching tomorrow in an elimination game against Italy or Thursday against the Dominican Republic.
And I'll tell you, he'll already benefit not only from another outing, but a different weather, humidity, all the things that you need to have as a knuckleballer. You don't really want it dry. Arizona, first outing. You know, he admitted, look, I'm trying to catch up. I throw a traditional knuckleball a little bit harder than most. Arm speed wasn't quite there. Left some flat. Next thing you know, down 2-0.
Phillips checked his swing. They appeal, and no swing, says Mark Wegner. Ryan Braun waiting next. Stanton and Zobrist aboard with 1 away. De La Torre's next pitch, and again Phillips checks the swing. This time they ring him up on the appeal. Without the benefit of seeing that again, I'm going to say he swung the bat.
Pretty close, but I'll agree with you. It's hard to get away with 2 in a row. Those were 2 really good pitches.
So it'll be up to Ryan Braun now. The U.S. now 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position tonight.
Nobody can go out and cover more of the outside part of the plate and hook it than this guy. Almost seems like he's got one of the longest bats in baseball, but it's the way his approach is and the way he stays on the baseball. That one actually tied him up, backed him up. But he can get 2, 3, 4 inches off the plate as good as anybody. And you see the distance between him and the plate.
0-2 to Ryan Braun.
The inability to get the bunt down allowed him to get 2 strikeouts now and a chance for his third on an 0-2 count, wiggle his way out, and who knows, maybe switch the momentum of this game to his team's favor.
Got him on 3 pitches. Jose De La Torre in and out of trouble in the 6th. With runners aboard, he strikes out Rollins, Phillips, and Braun to keep it 3-0 for Team USA. Here's how the Team USA scoring began. It was with Joe Mauer in the first. A 2-out RBI double brought in Ryan Braun. Gio Gonzalez took that run and ran. He was terrific. 5 shutout innings. Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 5 and scattered 3 base hits. The U.S. added an additional run in the 5th. On top 2-0 at the time, and David Wright makes it a 3-0 ball game with a bases loaded RBI single. That's where we stand for Vinny Pistano on from the U.S. bullpen. And he gets Carlos Beltran to begin inning number 7.
The USA pitchers have set the tone by throwing strikes, been on the attack. Puerto Rico has had some quick outs, meaning attacking the first pitch, making some outs. That's how you set the tone for a 3-0 game. Gio was outstanding with all of his pitches.
Jeremy Affeldt worked the 6th, and now it's Pistano with 1 gone in the 7th. Here's Yadier Molina. Molina, a couple of ground balls to shortstop tonight. Vinny Pistano was a guest earlier tonight on Intentional Talk. Spent some time with Chris Rose and Dan Plesac, who's filling in for Kevin Millar. To 3-0 now on Molina. Vinny's a Southern California guy. Indians drafted him as a 20th rounder in 2006 out of Cal State Fullerton, born in Newport Beach. And a strike to make it 3-1.
He stayed right there. He's just missed on each pitch so far in this at bat. 3-1.
Full count now, 3-2. Vinny Pistano's a guy who's gone through the Tommy John surgery. As you take a look at that 3-1 pitch again, and got it out of the way really early in his baseball life. Comes back to strike out Yadi Molina. From 3-0 to strike 3, and there were 2 gone in the 7th. You had Tommy John surgery well after you had established yourself in the big leagues. I mean, this happened a lot earlier in the game for Vinny. He had it his junior year in college.
Yeah, the statistics are pretty skewed, meaning that people think you get the Tommy John early, get it out of the way, you'll have a long career. You're really only guaranteed to get back where you once were. So college baseball or single A, double A, when guys have it there, the good success rate of getting back to single A, double A. We have it in the big leagues, your success rate goes way up because you know how to get to the big leagues and get to big league pitching. So credit to him. And junior year in college is probably one of the worst years you can have it, from a draftability to a leverage and all the things that come with it.
Oh, 0-1 the count to Mike Aviles. The 0-1 pitch is lined up the middle of base hit. 2-out single in the Puerto Rico 7th. Here's Martin Maldonado now. That was just the 5th hit of the night for Puerto Rico. 4 singles and the Beltran double that came in the 4th. This is a pinch hitter. Carlos Rivera batting in Maldonado's spot in the order.
I gave some statistics earlier, and I think the first game, if you were 563 Dominican players have played in Major League Baseball. Then Venezuela has 286, Canada 239, then Puerto Rico 234, Cuba and Mexico following in ranks. Those countries have contributed some great players to our sport. And this classic is to open it up and really expand the horizon. They've already expanded the countries. We've seen Italy and what they've been able to do. Had some major upsets. We've got a requalifier under the current rules.
And Rivera lines into left. Braun is there to handle it. Nothing comes of the 2-out single. A scoreless seventh authored by Vinny Pastano. Oh! Joe Mauer leads off the bottom of the inning for Team USA, up 3-zip. It's a bases-loaded RBI single for Captain America. Team USA on top of Puerto Rico, 3-0 to score. We're in and out of the 7th inning stretch, well in and out of the Puerto Rico bullpen. The latest to pitch, veteran left-hander J.C. Romero. Carlos Rivera takes over at first base after pinch hitting in the last half inning. Mauer, Wright, and Hosmer for Team USA. And a strike for Joe Mauer.
JC currently not with any team. Last year he spent some time with St. Louis and Baltimore, although just to the tune of 16 games. Look at his overall numbers.
"14 years in the big leagues. Time split with a lot of different uniforms, perhaps best known for his time as a Philly. When he won 2 games in the 2008 World Series, en route to winning a ring against the Tampa Bay Rays. 1-1 to Joe Mauer. A flare into the opposite field. It's foul. There are a number of pitchers that work on this Puerto Rico staff, like J.C. Romero, who would love to open some eyes here in the World Baseball Classic, and another who they thought they would have among their ranks. Veteran right-hander Javier Vasquez was thought to be coming to the WBC. Had a change of heart relatively late in the game, when a lot of us thought that he'd be using the WBC not only to try to help his home country, but perhaps as an audition of sorts.
Well, what happened, he also incurred a little injury of the knee, meniscus, and he has decided to hang it up. That's enough. But you're right, that's what he would planned on doing, was to come here and see, give it one more college try, and had some great numbers everywhere he went, maybe with the exception of the Yankees, where it seemed to get the best of him.
Had great years with the Expos, and then it was a series of well-traveled campaigns. Time with the White Sox, the Diamondbacks, the Yankees, as you mentioned. And Mauer caught looking at a cold strike 3. That is 4 straight strikeouts hung by the Puerto Rico bullpen.
Take a look at this slider. Catches the corner. Joe's a big guy, again 6'5", 6'6" in that area. Maybe thought it was low, but strike zone. Got the corner.
One gone now for David Wright. Been another big night for David.
He has driven in 2 of Team USA's 3 runs. The Grand Slam versus Italy Saturday night. I've always kind of taken exception to handling things like the All-Star game and big events by starting the discussion with who isn't there. You know, it always seems like when you hear about the All-Stars, the first thing people go to is who got quote-unquote snubbed, more than celebrating the players that are picked. So it took us into the 7th inning tonight. We talked about this earlier for the Dominican Republic. There are always names and players that aren't around that you think, would it be different if player X, Y, and Z were here? A lot of names for Team USA, of course. There's a strike for David Wright. Carlos Correa became the first player from Puerto Rico selected #1 in the draft last year. Young Astros shortstop. And it kind of opens the discussion for all the players that are not in the big leagues that are from Puerto Rico. Some of them are here, some of them aren't. And reopens the topic of what a hotbed for baseball Puerto Rico is. You gave some numbers a moment ago about how so many Dominican players are out there. Before the Dominican really established itself as the Caribbean hotbed for baseball, that belonged to Puerto Rico. 21 big league property players in round 2 of the World Baseball Classic call Puerto Rico their home country.
Again, the mindset's so much different than what we have. They play, probably only take a month and a half, if that, off after the regular season, then the Caribbean season, and winter ball, and all the different opportunities to play baseball.
On a sharp hop, Aviles can't handle it, and Hosmer's going to reach base safely.
Now, see, I got that a base hit, and I'm a pitcher, so we're going to see what the official score comes up with.
It's going to be a base hit. We got you and the official scorer in agreement for the first time.
It's probably going to be more than Harold Reynolds and Brian Kenny.
Here's Adam Jones now. A 2-out base runner for the Americans. Hosmer's running. Molina throws down too late. Eric Hosmer was 16 of 17 in stolen base attempts last year.
This is just unbelievable for Molina. Huge jump, but look, he doesn't even move and gets the ball right on target from his knees. Huge jump, and this thing's closer than it should be.
So a chance for Jones to knock in a run, and it's, you can call that a rare stolen base on Yadi Molina's watch. He threw out 45%, actually has thrown out 45% for his career. And we know all about how many Gold Gloves are in the Molina household.
I don't know what they're going to do when they're out of the game, but they could put together a tremendous academy for catchers just in their family. They have the gift of.
Back up the middle. Hosmer's being waved around. Pagano's up and throwing home too late. That was a big stolen base indeed. Jones is going to get to second as the ball got away at the plate. And the U.S. has added a late insurance run. It's 4-0 Americans.
This is a ball that Yachty probably needs to block. And he gets down like a goalie, but it squirts off of his glove. He slides a little bit too far to his right. Another runner in scoring position. That's going to be E2.
JC Romero was to the right of the home plate umpire. So when that ball got away from Molina, JC was not in the best spot to back up. They're going to intentionally walk Giancarlo Stanton now.
A lot of throws from center field. Always got to go over that diamond, that mound, and that one takes a hop and can create different spin, which also will make it tougher to react to the bounce.
So here's Ben Zobrist, runners at first and second. A 2-out run scores on a single and an error. Take a look at where JC Romero ends up here. And gets into kind of a pushing match there with the umpire. Unable to back up. I'm not sure if JC should have been at a different spot or if Marvin Hudson should have left him alone. You tell me.
Well, he's got to get in deeper position anyway, so he was just too close to home plate. There's nothing he can do even if the ball would have got away. He's got to get deeper and he's got to react to where the throw's going.
Zobrist offers it the first pitch and sends a fly ball to left. Rosario's under it, and the U.S. gets one in the 7th. A 2-out run scores on a couple of hits and an error. We're heading to the 8th tonight. Team USA on top 4-zip. Get ready for the 2013 opening week coverage on MLB Network. Start your season with live games all week long, plus coverage of every team on MLB Tonight. It's all on MLB Network. Coverage of opening week begins April 1st at 10 a.m. Eastern, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Some changes as we go to the 8th. A new pitcher for Team USA, and in a very familiar, comfortable position is Miami Marlins right-hander Steve Cishek.
A lot of arm angles today. This is one that's of the 3/4 to sidearm delivery.
Jesus Feliciano is the pinch hitter. It's Feliciano, Rosario, then top of the order Angel Pagan. The U.S. bullpen hoping that it has to negotiate the likes of Rios, Beltran, and Molina only one more time tonight. Jesus Feliciano's been around, as those numbers document, 4 different organizations, over 1,500 career minor league games. You know, we were talking about Puerto Rico's place in the Caribbean baseball landscape last half inning, and the fact that they don't have the numbers coming from Puerto Rico that they used to, as you see Glenn Perkins and David Hernandez up in the bullpen for Team USA. Puerto Rico had 20 players on rosters last year. Only 2 of them were all-stars. Ouch. And Feliciano gets hit. 15 years earlier, there were 8 Puerto Rican-born all-stars in Major League Baseball. Of course, the Alomar brothers were around. But there are a lot of people who feel like Puerto Rico has lost a little bit of its punch as a baseball place because of its inclusion in the draft. It's now a part of the process and has been for a few years. Other Caribbean nations like Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, they have not been integrated into the draft system. So players from there can sign with any team as a free agent as young as 16. So as a result, a lot of big league teams aren't spending as much time focusing on Puerto Rico. They're looking at other parts of the Caribbean. Joe Torre coming out to have a chat with Steve Cishek. And that's going to be all. Cishek faces one batter, loses him as a hit batsman, a pitching change, and we'll be right back. Well, Team USA just a handful of outs away from getting themselves a day off tomorrow. This is what's happened so far in round 2. Earlier today, the Italians lost to the Dominican Republic, and that means the Dominican Republic gets the day off, and they'll face the winner of the U.S.-Puerto Rico game on Thursday. For Italy, they get the loser of tonight's game, and that one played tomorrow at 7 p.m. will become an elimination game, double elimination style tournament here in round 2. Here's Eddie Rosario now with the leadoff hitter aboard. That was Feliciano. He was hit by a pitch. David Hernandez is the new pitcher for Team USA. Hernandez worked in the tournament over the weekend at his home ballpark in Phoenix, Arizona. The ex-Oriole, current Diamondback right-hander, actually aspired to play for Team Mexico in the WBC. However, he could not get the paperwork together, the proper documentation to qualify to play for the Mexican team. So he is here for Team USA and was named to the team when Chris Perez was lost due to shoulder injury. It's 0-2 to Eddie Rosario.
Guy that was a starter, Hernandez. Didn't top out much, you know. All of a sudden he goes to the bullpen, he's throwing cheese, 95 and above, and really I think kind of saved his career, changed it with the Diamondbacks.
Still 0-2 to Eddie Rosario. Angel Pagan waiting on deck. Hooked into fair territory in right field. Feliciano being held at third. Runners at second and third with nobody out in the Puerto Rico 8th. The first time all night that Puerto Rico has had a base runner past second.
That's the typical down and in to a lefty. Try to stay away from it. See that ball stays over the middle of the plate. He goes out there and just hooks it down the line. Had him really played kind of the other way, so the off-speed pitch gave him a chance to put it where the defense wasn't.
So now Angel Pagan, he has singled and stolen a base tonight. On the ground to shortstop. Rollins will concede the run as they get the out on Pagan, and Puerto Rico is on the scoreboard tonight. 4-1 Team USA. So now Irving Falou also 1 for 3 tonight. Hernandez, the second American to pitch in the inning. Steve Cishek started. And perhaps more to come as Luke Gregerson and Glenn Perkins are up. Alex Rios waiting next. You're getting into the tricky part of the order now. A runner at second, a run in and 1 away. And 0-2 to Irving Falou. U.S. bullpen's been stingy.
Good pitch there. He got him 0-2, change the eye level, go up. Might get an aggressive swing. Never know. Right here, all of a sudden, you see the eye level of the hitter will adjust to that pitch. Now he can pretty much go where he wants to.
One-two pitch got him looking, and I think Falou knew it. Knee-high inside corner. Maybe he didn't know it. Maybe he's chirping about the call. That's a pretty good pitch.
Very good. Went up, he went in and locked it up. Definitely where the catcher was set up, so that means right there, based on the strike zone, the catcher was off the plate, and he made it look good enough for the umpire, where the umpire sets up on the inside part of that plate.
Here's Alex Rios now. The two-time All-Star hitless tonight. He grounded into a double play back in the 6th. Two balls and no strikes. When the Americans bat in the bottom of the 8th, they'll have the top of the order. And what David Hernandez hopes is still a 3-run lead. To 3-0 now, and now Hernandez is a ball away from bringing Carlos Beltran to the plate as the tying run. Balls and a strike.
Well, the bullpen's got a righty and a lefty, and soon to be Mr. Kimbrel.
U.S. closer Craig Kimbrel has had only one appearance in these World Baseball Classic games. That came Sunday. The 3-1 from Hernandez popped him up on the infield. Hosmer's got it. And Puerto Rico settles with only one in their half of the 8th. This presentation of the World Baseball Classic is brought to you by Cisco. Tomorrow starts here. And by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by the Dominican Republic. The vacation of your dreams is closer than you think. Dominican Republic has it all. A bunch of changes to post for you for Team Puerto Rico. Jimmy Rollins leads things off in the last of the 8th for the Americans. Jesus Feliciano, after pinch hitting, stays in the ballgame and takes over in left. Mike Aviles moves from shortstop to third. Irving Falou goes to shortstop. Perhaps most interesting of all is Eddie Rosario going to second base. That's something that the Twins may have in his future. There's been a lot of discussion in Minnesota about taking him out of the outfield and moving him into the infield. So that's how Puerto Rico realigns here in the 8th inning. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jimmy Rollins.
Kimbrel's getting it fired up for a routine that has become just about automatic.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Look around baseball this year, and not only is there going to be some staffs, but the starting staff's pretty good. There's some teams with some lockdown bullpens. Nationals improved theirs. Of course, the Braves is really good.
Base hit for Jay Smooth. Leadoff hitter aboard now for Brandon Phillips.
talked about the Twins a moment ago as it relates to where Eddie Rosario might end up playing in the big leagues. Jose Berrios is also Twins property. Last year between the developmental GCL Twins and Elizabethton, and that's how you say it, Elizabethton. 3-0 with a 1.17 ERA.
Well, you know, the Twins are, I think, in transition where their philosophy for pitching was always throw strikes, don't walk guys. They didn't have a lot of power arms, and it showed up in the playoffs. And I think they're trying to find a way to get some arms to where, like everybody else, has got 95, 96, 97 coming out of the pen. And the Twins have traditionally gone after guys that have thrown strikes, don't have those kind of arms.
Berrios was actually selected as a first-round compensation pick when Michael Kadire signed with the Rockies. He was the 32nd player chosen overall in 2010, or 2012 rather. A highly regarded prospect. A ball to no strikes, the count to Brandon Phillips. 4 runs on 10 hits for Team USA, a run on 6 hits, 2 errors committed by Puerto Rico. Did your baseball life ever take you to Elizabeth, Tennessee?
Did not.
That's some glamour circuit there, the Appalachian League.
Yeah.
Off the fist, a little infield pop for Falou. Saw Ray Dickey a moment ago. He gets the ball next, whether it's tomorrow or more likely the U.S. hangs on and their next game would be Thursday against the Dominican Republic. Again, the loser here in this one plays Italy tomorrow in an elimination matchup. The winner gets the day off and matches up with the Dominican on Thursday night. Here's Ryan Braun. Ball and a strike. Ryan, of course, another one of the Miami stories with the World Baseball Classic second round being here at Marlins Park. Outstanding college career at the University of Miami. Hard to imagine Ryan Braun not being drafted out of high school. All kinds of high school records in Granada Hills.
It's interesting he came so far to go to college, coast to coast, right?
That's right.
With all the programs on the West Coast, some of the marquee programs, but he came about as far as you can go.
He did, and the way he tells it, he not only liked the atmosphere around the U, but he was here as a business major as well. And he got to Miami on a partial academic scholarship. So it was for more than just baseball. A little infield chopper. Aviles has to come up with it without a throw, and it's an infield single for Ryan Braun. So one of the guys that can beat you with 550 feet needs about 50 of it here for the infield single.
Yeah, he still runs pretty good. You know, he makes the transition from infield to the outfield. He's done a great job in making that look rather seamless. But people forget that he can run the bases, he can steal bases, and he gets out of the box right from the beginning. Not even a hesitation of what, because he knows where that third baseman's playing, and they're all going to play pretty deep.
With Joe Mauer scheduled a pitching change, that's all for Jose Berrios.
Edwin Rodriguez goes for Xavier Cedeno. Another change, and we'll be right back. Well, this is what we discussed a moment ago. The loser of this one plays Italy tomorrow night in an elimination game. Whoever wins between the U.S. and Puerto Rico sails through to Thursday, where that team will take on the Dominican Republic. Both games right here on MLB Network at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Yet another pitching change for Team Puerto Rico. It'll be Xavier Cedeno taking over here to face Joe Mauer with runners aboard and only one away in the 8th.
One of these young bullpens that a lot of minor league games, starting 103 of them, 639 innings, but all finding a way to get the job done up to this point.
Joe Mauer has driven in a run tonight, walked twice and struck out. Xavier Cedeno has Miami connections as well. He was drafted as a 31st rounder by the Rockies in 2004 out of Miami-Dade Community College. He was released by the Rockies in 2010. Spent a year at home. The phone never rang, but in October of 2011 was signed as a free agent by the Astros. And finds the lower portion of the strike zone to Joe Mauer. There's Craig Kimbrell, the U.S. closer, getting ready for the 9th. You know, in this day and age of instant information and things going around on Twitter and online.
Yeah.
Just got a text message from somebody that informed me that in our discussion of Elizabethton, Tennessee, talking about the Elizabethton Twins, team that Jose Barrios pitched for last year.
Yeah.
They won the Appy League in 2012, and they celebrated at Applebee's.
Really?
Yeah. So I thought I'd share that with the American TV public. They won it all in a walk-off grand slam last year.
We know if that's credible. You trust this person?
It's dicey. It's dicey. I thought I'd just take a chance and regurgitate the information. The great Robbie Inspikoski of Fox Sports Pittsburgh.
Well, you just made it credible then.
Not to the people that know him.
No.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count to Joe Mauer. Full count now, 3-2. David Wright waiting next. He's already driven in 2 tonight. The RBIs by Adam Jones, Joe Mauer, and a pair for David Wright. Cedeno's next pitch, and that patented inside-out flare foul at left field.
Tell you what, we talked about how he can handle the bat, but the shortstop at the last minute went over to cover second base in a daylight play, left the whole left side of the infield wide open, and I don't know how much of that might not have been on purpose. Watch the shortstop. He's going for daylight. It's too late, and you can see Mauer almost try to hit that hole where just a routine ground ball would have been a base hit. Almost pulled it off. For that simple reason, that's what I used to hate the daylight play. I always liked to have a play that was either called by me or one of the infielders, because the daylight play is a quick reaction. You have to go quick without balking. And in the worst case scenario, if he's standing at second when you deliver a pitch, you're in trouble. If the guy decides to find that hole or can make the contact. That particular play was daylight by the shortstop, taking it on his own because the lead was too big.
Still full 3-2 to Joe Mauer.
What the infielder will do, as the pitcher's supposed to turn back and check before he goes home, he'll just flash his glove on the inside of the runner, between the runner and the bag, which means lead me over there, I'm going, we think we can get it. Otherwise it's a play. So you see him, he didn't do it this time, going off with the runner, but previously he will go to the other way to the bag to try for the pickoff.
Ball 4 to Mauer. It's the third time he's been on base tonight via the base on balls.
I have to disagree with the strike zone there. That ball's a little bit low for the height at which Mauer stands up there at the plate. It's okay. I've disagreed with the official score. I've disagreed with the strike zone, and I've disagreed with our producer. So it's no big deal.
It's the third inning in which Team USA has had a bases loaded opportunity. David Wright drove in a run in a bases loaded spot in the fifth with a base hit. Yes, the Americans lead at 4-1, but they have stranded 11 base runners tonight. David Wright, with the bases loaded in this tournament, has a grand slam and an RBI single. And with Craig Kimbrell hot in the bullpen, a base here and you can put it to bed. No disrespect to Team Puerto Rico, but you could probably say that if the Yankees or Blue Jays or Giants were on the field as well. 2 balls and a strike.
Good chance tonight I'm going to hear horns in my sleep. Let's see the check. David Wright.
Horns in a rather furious drum beat.
There we go, right there.
2 balls and 2 strikes. SI.com senior writer Tom Verducci said after the first game of the doubleheader that he has never seen such a vast assortment of musical instruments at a baseball game before. And in that first game, there was everything from, you know, xylophones to kazoos. Wright sends a drive out to right center field. Rios and Pagan are there, and Angel Pagan can't make the catch. And Captain America's cashed in with the bases loaded again. Five runs batted in for David Wright this evening, 10 for the tournament.
Well, this is a long way, a breaking ball that he stays inside and goes in the gap. He had to run a long way and almost came up with that ball.
The gaps here are expansive. Sergeant Felix Perez is loving it. Proud of his friend, proud of his country. 7-1 for Team USA. The only U.S. player to enjoy a bigger RBI night in World Baseball Classic history is Ken Griffey Jr., who drove in 7 in a game back in 2006. A game taking place against South Africa. Two balls and 2 strikes, the count to Eric Hosmer. Looking more and more like the U.S. will get the day off tomorrow and match up with the Dominican Republic in what will turn into some real must-see TV on Thursday night at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Tomorrow, Italy and Puerto Rico. That's unless Puerto Rico can come back tonight. And a swing and a miss, and Eric Hosmer's tough night continues. His 3rd strikeout this evening.
Yeah, tying him up inside again. Making some perfect pitches in some situation on some hitters that all you can do is tip your hat. We're going to get another change, looks like, from the manager.
It's going to be all for Xavier Cedeno. And Edwin Rodriguez again going back to his bullpen. 7-1 U.S. A pitching change. We'll be right back. Our next game coming at you tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Italy will take on the loser of this one, either the U.S. or Puerto Rico. And with the U.S. on top 7-1, they're hoping to get the pass through all the way to Thursday. So tomorrow, Italy and either the Puerto Rico-U.S. matchup, whoever loses tonight, that is, and the loser tomorrow night is done for the tournament. Tomorrow night, it's elimination baseball on MLB Network. Randy Fontañez is the new pitcher for Team Puerto Rico. Adam Jones will be the 7th American to hit in this inning. Big bases clearing double by David Wright, giving him a grand total of 10 RBIs in not even 4 games in World Baseball Classic play. Adam Jones has an RBI tonight. Wright in scoring position with 2 away.
What's amazing about this game, it might take David Wright a month with the Mets to get the bases loaded that many times, and he's already done it a few short games here in the World Baseball.
And he has just cashed in on every one of his opportunities. 3 bases loaded at bats. And he has driven in runs in all of them. 9 of his 10 RBIs have come in those bases loaded opportunities. Jones lifts a fly ball into foul territory and out of play behind 0-2.
The USA lineup starting to flex its muscles. Stanton got a couple hits to get off the snide, and that always feels good in spring training, especially in this format. They're getting plenty of opportunities, and tonight they were able to cash in with runners in scoring position, even despite leaving 11 guys on base.
A ball and 2 strikes. Three big insurance strikes here in the bottom of the 8th. The U.S. a little bit less concerned about Beltran, Molina, and Aviles with the 6-run lead. There's a drive out to left that will retire the side. Team USA is 3 outs away from a date with the Dominicans on Thursday. Craig Kimbrell is on for Team USA to try to shut this one down. Carlos Beltran, the first to face him, and on the first pitch, whacks a fly ball into right for Giancarlo Stanton. The U.S. enjoying the afternoon and evening here in South Florida. Nobody more so than Larry Bowa.
How about that, AB? That'll do it. Woo! David Wright's a player, isn't he?
Here's Yadi Molina with a base hit back up the middle.
Kimbrell coming in, throwing fastballs. That's really what you should do. 7-1 lead. You know you got to get your work and make your pitches count. But you also got some other games that are going to be pitching in as well. Throw strike, see what happens.
Mike Aviles with one gone. One ball and one strike to count to Mike Aviles. There's our pal Mike Lowell.
He's reading your text right now.
The text says, "Don't be afraid to come up here and help us out. We had to call a doubleheader today." Well, you enjoy your, your nice, comfortable chair down there, Mike. Mike is here, probably one of those with, a little skin in the game on both sides. Mike, born in Puerto Rico. Heidi Watney's visit earlier today with Jorge Posada. We learned that Jorge, that he wanted to play in this thing, could have played for one of a number of countries. He played for the U.S., of course. One parent Cuban, one parent Dominican. Jorge was born in Puerto Rico, so my goodness. Could have made quite a choice. A reminder, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the World Baseball Classic Incorporated and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Three-two pitch is on the ground to second. Phillips to Rollins, and that's going to do it. Team USA has a date with the Dominicans on Thursday. And between now and then, the Dominicans better hope that Captain America cools off. 5 more RBI for David Wright tonight, leading the way in a 7-1 win for Team USA.
Definitely taking advantage of what his teammates put him in a position to do. He found the gap twice. They are a happy bunch knowing they got a day off tomorrow. Some travels late, getting here from Arizona, workout yesterday. Now they can relax.
Without question, tonight's Chevrolet player of the game, David Wright. An RBI bases loaded single early. That came in the third. Another bases loaded base hit, or another RBI base hit rather, in the fifth. And then the big bases loaded double in the 8th. 5 runs batted in for David all told. A terrific night for Captain America. An RBI an RBI fielder's choice rather, the RBI single, and then the bases loaded double. David Wright, our Chevrolet player of the game. He's standing by with Heidi Watney.
David, you've got 10 RBI in this tournament so far. That leads the tournament. You're in mid-season form. How are you doing this?
Because I'm hit with bases loaded every at bat. I got Joe Mauer in front of me, Ryan Braun in front of me, Haas behind me. So it seems like every at bat I'm hit with runners in scoring position. So it's not me, it's them.
All right, big smile on your face. There was also a big smile on your face on your guest tonight, Sergeant Perez. He was cheering for you hugely. Earlier in the game, we asked him about wearing that flag on his sleeve. What does that mean to you?
I mean, you know, I echo what he has to say. You know, it means so much to me, you know, because I see how much it means to him. You know, I guess that's the best way I can put it. You know, when you talk about, you know, wearing this uniform, USA across the front of your chest, the stars and stripes on your sleeve, you know, obviously it's important to us, it's important for the country, and you see how excited that the veterans get, and obviously it's for them.
What is your relationship like with Sergeant Perez?
I would say we're real good friends. You know, we text back and forth all the time. You know, he's a big University of Miami fan. I'm a big Virginia Tech fan, so we talk a lot of smack in that. And then I see him, you know, when we come down here and play in Miami. So, you know, a great guy, and like I said, I'm glad we can go out there and get a win in front of him today.
All right, a win today means a day off tomorrow, but then a huge date with the Dominican on Thursday. What is that going to be like for you guys?
They've been playing great baseball, so it's going to be a huge challenge for us. And we know that, you know, we barely squeaked by that first round, and we know that, you know, this is going to be just as tough, if not tougher. So we got a big game ahead of us, so we got to get our rest tomorrow and, you know, come out ready to play, that's for sure.
All right, thank you, David. Back to you, Matt.
Heidi, thanks. David Wright featured prominently in the attack for the U.S. today. He said it right on point with all the star power in the lineup. He's had a lot of help around him as well. So let's take a look at the bracket for the second round, and here's what we know after one day of play. Doubleheader action in Miami today. The Dominican Republic beat Italy today. The U.S. beats Puerto Rico. So tomorrow, it's an elimination game between Italy and Puerto Rico. We'll have live coverage for you tomorrow at 7 Eastern. The U.S. and the Dominican Republic will take the day off. They get back after it Thursday at 7 Eastern. Moving forward, Game 5, Friday at 7 Eastern, will feature the winner between Italy and Puerto Rico and the loser between the Dominican Republic and Team USA. Again, double elimination tournament as that sets up what's ahead here in Miami.
Well, the first game was exciting, and certainly the second game with USA being able to take advantage of a close game late and setting up for what we thought was probably going to happen, and some of the teams that we thought would be there in the end. And you know what? People are tuning in. Large crowd tonight. Got their money's worth.
Join us tomorrow. It's a must-win situation, both Italy and Puerto Rico. The winner continues on. The loser goes home. It's at 7 Eastern on MLB Network. Coming up next, complete highlights of today's action on MLB Tonight with Greg Amsinger, Jerry Manuel, and Bill Ripken. For John Smoltz and Heidi Watney, this is Matt Vasgersian saying so long from Miami. Thanks for watching the World Baseball Classic right here on MLB Network.